Hello and welcome. What does story say? As you know, I'm Dr. Pauline Baird, cultural bearer from the village of Buxton, Guyana, and I tell stories of my village. I tell our family histories, our whispered stories, our practice hidden, and sometimes long lost traditions. And what does story say? I come all we talk. So I've been sharing my experiences in the Guyana jungle, where I served my time in exchange for free education in Guyana, sometime in the 80s and so on. Now, I told you about how I got there. I told you about, the first meeting of the people, the higher-ups. I told you of the move to this other place in the Guyana jungle, the Burnham Agricultural Institute. I also told you about the reception and about work life. And the last time, I left you with the bucket. So let's talk about the bucket. I had taken this bucket of biscuits, crackers, to the bush. Well, that was long gone. Well, one night, somebody knocked on the window. Bam, 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 bam. So, when I go and look, one of the guys say, you get a container? So I hustle around and get like a margarine container. Nothing big. And the guy said, no man, that's too small. So we went back and get a little other tub. He said, too small. Then I said, you know what? I have this bucket. So I applied for the bucket. Gave the guy the bucket. People, when that bucket returned, the guy said, hold it carefully. So I take it through the window. The bucket hot. And the smell from this bucket is heavenly. Rival my grandmother's Sunday soup. The Sunday cow soup. My mouth starts salivate. When they open the bucket get a nice hot soup. I say, Now dinner time long gone, this is night time. So the other girls in, they say, whoa, we say soup and so. Now when them start dig up this soup got egg inside. It get edo. It get cassava. It get cabbage. It get okra. This thing, everything on the kitchen sink inside of this thing, it got meat. Well, mind you, I tell y'all, them people is cooking pork every day. And me not eat pork. Sometimes they get chicken and sometimes they have beef, but not often. It's a lot of pork. And I, as a Christian Seventh-day Adventist girl, I don't eat pork. So that was a disappointment because the thing got meat inside. But smell heavenly. So that's the bucket of the soup come. But I wasn't supposed to know then that this thing gonna crack open this place wide open. So next morning now, I meet the guy who gave me the soup. I say, hey, where you get the soup from last night? Banner say, what soup? I said, man, the soup you gave me last night. I said, me? Me not give you soup, girl? I said, no, the bucket with soup. I said, hey, watch me. Me not give you none soup. Me say, I there in this bush. A lot of herbs grow in this bush, but me not eat and smell no shrooms that give me hallucination that me must make up this bucket with the soup. Because after all, me wash this bucket. So I start thinking, is what going on here? If he not give me soup, and me sure me take this bucket with this soup into this billet, something wrong. So during the rest of the day now, me catch another bite. Me say, partner, hey. Where I get the soup last night? But I said, what? What soup? I said, man, this soup. He said, me not man no soup. What kind of soup you talking about, girl? Don't take it pass me. So me zip my mouth. I said, well, if then says soup not give, soup not give. Well, me got to contextualize this story for what come next. Remember, they never used to give us good food. We used to walk the farm, carry the nice vegetables, because we are agriculture students, we know to walk the farm. So we say, all right, since the food's so porous in the jungle, we can make it work. We can produce food because we know how to do that. But when we produce the food and carry it to the kitchen, what appears in front of us is little to be desired. Whereas across from us are the big wigs eating up all the good food like I told you before. So this thing was egregious. Not only am I give me bad food, but I'm eat it in front of my face. I'm eat good food in front of my face. So, after that, well, we had to bear with chief, right? So, this soup, I think the soup kept coming, I can't remember. But one day, when we fall in for the duties, one by name Pitt say, Staff Sergeant, my bed get crab. People, it's not crab, the crustacean, you know? Not that one. We just cook and eat. And the crabs, what is their parts? You know them crab louse. And he bed had crab louse. So Pitt complained, Staff Sergeant, this bed got for change. And this and this and this. Mind you, up to that time, these people had us, you know, frightening them, you know, we were still scared of them because they rank and we not understand, you know, they were coming down. They got ranks and they got position and authority. But little by little, this authority erode because of the stupidness what go on. Crabs in the bed. So Pitt dep and he no want to change the bed. Eventually, he sent Peter Port Kaituma for get one bed. Yeah, he sent a corps man for get bed. Eroding the authority. Then they gave me some stink shoes. Some stink yachting shoes. And Pitt is a by nice to make joke. Pitt says, Staff Sergeant, this shoes stink. We can't wear these shoes. So now this man now got to bend and do what Pitt want. So the thing started for erode. And then came the bucket scenario. All this time, Pitt not say not much more, but he arguing for rights and for good living conditions. So one day, Staff Sergeant tell us, fall in. So we fall in. He said, corps men's and women's. I have a complaint. Food is missing from the pantry. Food is missing from the pantry. So we are listening to he. Food are missing from pantry. What I got to do with we? So he continue. And then he said, I want to know if y'all know anything about that. Nobody ain't say nothing. So when he come another day, he say, a bucket from the kitchen missing. You know, they had this big 5-gallon galvanized bucket in the kitchen. And every time he complaining about this bucket missing, me not understand what he talking about because I don't work in the kitchen. I work in the bush with my friend Basil digging ditch. So I don't care. So after he carry on with this thing for a while, Pitt raised up Ian. Excuse me, Staff Sergeant. He said, yes, Corpsman Pitt. What is it? He said, Staff Sergeant, are you accusing us of something? I never see Bunter wilt like that. Bunter wilt. And said, Comrade Pitt, I'm not accusing you of everything. Man, we lived in the dorm, so we knew we had him. He got to account to us. We knew we had him. And from then, the erosion of the ranks began and the masses took over. Let me give you the further story for this, because I heard this part long after GSA. It is said that my partner been under the orange trees next to the pantry. I call it pantry. They just got a storeroom, like a cold storage where they get the beef and whatever else. And the mist would come down in the bush. So he went under this orange tree for smoke cigarettes, because you're not supposed to smoke at this place. But he went there to do his clandestine smoking. So while he under there smoking, he heard footsteps. So he put out the cigarette and hide in there. Stupid by. People not gonna smell a cigarette. But anyway, he there in the mist under the tree. And he noticed one of the ranks, a female, pushed the pantry door and went in. So he said, me no say the pantry door does they open. And what kind of story it is? So when he watched she come out with a bundle of stuff. He said, I not think why you know why I think that. Wait. After she done come out, before he decided to make a move pan the kitchen, pan that storage place, another body come. That one lower rank than she. That lower rank used to walk in the kitchen and enter the lower rank, and he come out with the bundle. And from the time he can come out with the bundle, my partner confront him. Hey, Bano, it's what you're doing. It's what you got there. He nearly jump out his skin. He nearly pee his skin. He not expect for see my friend jump out from under the orange tree like a ghost. He jump. He said, well, partner, you gotta give me some of that. So, in Guyanese parlance, two thieves make God laugh. The ranks are thief, the lower ranks are thief, and the partner go catch them. So then I got to share the spoils. So Adami here, them Bible and make soup. So when Bunta a carry on, but this bucket are missing and that, then I get no leg for stand on because them lower ranks, them worried that them might go attack because them a thief from their own self. And them a thief from themselves and eat better and a starve we out. And that what really happened. And the things start slide from there. You see, after that incident, food start get better in the cafeteria. Wherever we put in the kitchen, start to get better because you see them two thief. Them two thief, when I work in the pantry, they know better. They know better, so we used to get better food. Well, story not done there. Them by say, one morning, staff sergeant decided they're going to go and do inspection. My suspicion is they must have been one for see if we thief the food. But remember, we are the thief, right? So, them inspect the billet. Next morning, staff sergeant come and complain. You know, core men and women, you got to be clean. You got to make your surroundings clean and all of that. You complain. And this man so dumb. He complains, say, how they buy them get the billet so nasty. They get all kind of skin that they throw around. Then get some bucket there, and they find the bucket. They find the 5-gallon bucket, and how the bucket full of mud. Oh, they're so careless and dirty. The bucket full of mud. Here what happened? Them buy get the food, and them cook it in the billet. What them do me here? Them take up the floorboard from the billet, and them build fire up on the ground, by the bare ground, with rocks. They make fire in the billet and the smoke will come out. Now mind you, when the smoke coming out, you can't tell smoke from mist. And they were downhill, so nothing can really, it doesn't go up to where the ranks live. They live at bottom of the hill. I never went down there. But that's what the guys explained to me. And in order for the food to cook good, they used to take mud and mud the entire bucket to give the bucket some kind of a thickness so the food can cook good. Ingenuity, that life in the bush. So that is how the soup erode the whole ranks and the respect and authority that they should have commanded because they were in error. Mind you, we were like 19, 20 years old. This is the era of our ways, time past. If I would have done differently now, who knows? When you're in a situation where you're hungry, and we weren't starving, mind you, we weren't starving, but the food was little to be desired. And that's because they had some unscrupulous people who would not let us eat as we should. If it were you, what would you do? The next story I'm going to tell you all about is this one. One morning, Staff Sergeant, as bright as he is, get up and say, "Good morning, corps men's and women's." Fall in. So we fall in. He said, "I wants a domestic. I wants a domestic." So I listened to this thing and thinking, what is this? Because remember, he has to create duties for us to do. And so he said, "Corps woman so-and-so fall out." And corps woman so-and-so fall out, and she went to do domestic. Your humble servant, in the bush, digging ditch. Later in the evening when we got back, the girl said, oh, she had domestic work to do, and that means that she went to the lieutenant's house and they clean, and she know whether and the lieutenant bed and whether they need fridge and so on. From the time I hear that, I don't vex. I vex. Let me tell you something. You see this Pauline Baird, this Pauline Felicia Baird, was raised with the distinct impression and the distinct message that I must be something. It was said, if you take your education, you don't got to do certain jobs. And let me put a caveat here. No job is beneath me. You see, when I went to school overseas, I clean toilet. I work in broom shop. I work menial jobs. And there's nothing that I can say against those jobs. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it anytime. But I'm telling you how I was raised. I was raised to better myself. And I would not choose to be a domestic if I didn't have to. I must have options. So I wasn't raised to be that. So when they bring this domestic business, I don't vex. I said to myself, me not do domestic. Me not can do domestic. And I know say, they won't have to keep me in this bush. So after a couple of weeks pass now, Bunta get up and say, Cora Woman Beard, have you been a domestic? No, Staff Sergeant. Fall out. Me vex so till me start to kick the dirt as I walk in. Insubordination. But this time I didn't really care. I've been kicking it. So then I go to the kitchen and I was malingering all about. Me I do nothing. Eventually the kitchen body come and tell me, Cora Woman Beard, can you come and carry in Lieutenant T? Me say, who? Me? She said, yes. Me say, I don't do that. She said, but you supposed to. I said, I ain't supposed to nothing. I ain't doing that. She said, well, it's alright. So I sit down in the kitchen, lingering around, and the thought in my head was, I'm going to be in this place for a very long time because I am not going to be a domestic. And I start to envision how my father going to come and rescue me out of this bush. You got to know something about me father, Buddy Beard. Buddy Beard used to tell me since my knee high, me Buddy Beard, me got friends with rockets and guns. He used to say that when you know want we go astray. He said, now go all about the place. I know people all over. Not follow friend for the bad thing because I got friends with rockets and guns. And me and my little stupid self, me used to believe that my father got friends with rockets and guns. So if at no other time I believe at this time, I said to myself, let them keep me in this bushy. When me not do this domestic, so me father gonna come. Me father Buddy Beard's gonna come down here. And he go fix them with the friends with rockets and guns. Listen, me father know people all over the place because he built roads all over Guyana. So popular that one time I brought him to New York. I would go to New York and go on the subway and see no one I know. One day, call my father in the subway. 10 body call my father. Hey, Buddy Beard. Hey, Buddy Beard. That was the man for you. So that was the man I leaned on to get out of the situation. But it got worse. It got worse. Me not carry the tea. Lunch a come. Y'all listen for the rest of the story when the lunch time come. Y'all are good.